Good evening and welcome to TCU Network. I am Tingnay Tim Hokip bringing you today's news. Today's top headlines include Kuki village volunteers sought by CRPF after demanding surrender of Gyron incident perpetrators. Kuki MLA's call out lie over center's claim on Monipur CM Biren Singh's bid to end conflict. Kuki Council announces total shutdown to honor 11 victims killed by CRPF in Jiribam. Kuki leaders demand DZP to halt insurgent settlement plans in tribal areas. Mar Inpui, ITLF and cohort condemns killing of 11 Mar village volunteers in cold blood by CRPF personnel in Jiribam yesterday. News in details. A tragic incident has ignited anger and grief in the Kuki communities as 11 Mar Kuki village volunteers were killed in what is being described as a cold-blood murder by combined forces of the Monipur Police Commandos and Central Reserve Police Force CRPF personnel. The killing occurred on November 7, 2024, shortly after the tragic death of Jo Sang Kim Mar, a young mother of 3 who was brutally raped and murdered, along with the burning of 17 houses in Gyron village by Meitei militants and Arambai Tingol. The assault occurred despite the presence of CRPF personnel in the village. According to the Kuki Inpi Jiribam, Tamenglong and Nonay, the Mar Kuki village volunteers, upon learning that the perpetrators of the Gyron incident were reportedly sheltered at the Jakurador police station by Manipur police commandos and CRPF, approached the CRPF personnel. They requested that the Meitei militants be handed over, assuring that they meant no harm to the Central Security Forces. However, the volunteers were allegedly fired upon indiscriminately while relaxing after the discussion, resulting in the loss of several lives. The Kuki Inpi has strongly condemned the incident, questioning why Gyron village was allowed to be attacked under the watch of the CRPF, while the same forces turned their guns on the Mar volunteers. The CRPF must take moral responsibility to the failure to protect Jo Sang Kim and Gyron village and for the cold-blooded murder of the village volunteers, the Kuki Inpi stated in a press release. In light of the incident, the Kuki Inpi has called for a thorough investigation by a central investigating agency and demanded the immediate withdrawal of CRPF forces from the Kuki villages of Jiribam, citing growing insecurity among the villagers. Additionally, the Kuki Inpi has called for the removal of Meitei militants, particularly the banned UNLF from the region, accusing them of being sheltered under the guise of peace talks with the central government. The Kuki Inpi also endorsed a 24-hour total shutdown called by the Kuki Council across all Kuki inhabited areas to protest the killings and demand justice for the victims. Manipur's 10 Kuki MLAs have issued a joint statement denying as a blatant lie the center's recent submission in the Supreme Court that Chief Minister N. Biren Singh had met them to try and restore peace in the strife-torn state. In a 3-paragraph statement issued on Sunday, the 10 MLAs, 6 of whom are from the ruling BJP, categorically denied having met Biren since the outbreak of the conflict between the Meiteis and Kukis on May 3rd last year. Nor do we have any intention of meeting him in future because he is the mastermind behind the violence and ethnic cleansing of our people from the Imphal Valley, which is continuing till today, the statement said. On Monday, 10 suspected Kuki village volunteers were killed in a gunfight with security forces in Jiribam district. The continuing ethnic conflict has killed 251 people and displaced more than 60,000. The 10 Kuki MLAs have stayed away from Imphal because of security concerns since the violence began. We, the undersigned 10 MLAs, have come to know that during the Supreme Court hearing held on November 8, 2024, the Solicitor General of India submitted that CM is meeting all Kuki MLAs and trying to bring the situation down to get peace, the statement said. In this connection, we hereby categorically state that this submission is a blatant lie and tantamount to misleading the Honorable Supreme Court of India. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta is reported to have met the submission orally during the hearing of a Kuki organization's petition that seeks an investigation into audio recordings purportedly featuring the Chief Minister that allegedly indicate he had a hand in the conflict. The state government had in August dismissed the audio clips, alleging that they had been doctored. The apex court has asked the Kuki organization to substantiate its claim. Sunday's statement also condemned the killing and burning of a defenseless Kuki woman by the Meitei militias in spite of heavy deployment of security forces in Jiribam district. We also condemn the Solicitor General's unprofessional conduct of submitting arguments before the Supreme Court without cross-checking the facts, it said. One of the Kuki MLAs confirmed the issuance of the joint statement. A state BJP leader from Imphal said the statement once again proves that they are against peace. In August, Kuki community members had staged multiple rallies in Monipur and at Jantar Mantar in Delhi, highlighting the audio tapes that purportedly featured the Chief Minister. In a solemn response to the tragic loss of 11 Kuki village volunteers at the hands of CRPF personnel in Jiribam today, the Kuki Council has called for a total shutdown today from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. This shutdown is aimed at honoring the victims and expressing collective grief, solidarity, and a demand for justice. The tragic incident, which has left the Kuki community in mourning, saw the victims brutally shot dead by CRPF personnel under circumstances that remain under investigation. The Kuki Council has condemned the violence in the strongest terms and has called for an immediate and thorough investigation to bring the responsible individuals to justice. The loss of these precious lives is not a personal tragedy for the families involved, but a devastating blow to the entire Kuki community, the Council stated in a public release. We stand united in our pursuit of peace, justice, and security, and we demand accountability for this heinous act. During the shutdown, essential services will remain operational. Medical personnel, ambulances, media, and essential services like electricity and water supply will be exempted from the restrictions to ensure the well-being of the community. The Kuki Council has extended its deepest condolences to the grieving families and called on the community to unite in the mourning. Let us come together, not in anger, but in solidarity, as we seek justice for those we have lost, the statement concluded. The call for the shutdown has garnered support from various Kuki bodies, including the Committee on Tribal Unity KOTU, KSO Mory, KSO Churachandpur, ZSF General Headquarters, and HSA Tuitapai General Headquarters, who have all expressed their commitment to standing with the victims' families and the broader Kuki community during this difficult time. In a meeting held today at the Kangpokpi District Headquarters, the Committee on Tribal Unity KOTU raised alarming concerns with the Director General of Police DGP of Manipur regarding ongoing security issues and encroachment threats in the Kuki regions. The committee representing the Kuki community submitted a memorandum addressing three major points that they insist required immediate intervention. The meeting, which focused on the prevailing law and order situation in the district, came after growing tensions between the Kuki community and the state government over escalating threats to their territories. The committee expressed its appreciation for the efforts of the Manipur police, particularly under the leadership of Manoj Prabhakar, the superintendent of police for Kangpokpi, who was credited for maintaining order with dedication and integrity. However, the Kuki leaders expressed deep concerns regarding what they term as the 17 months of wanton desecration of constitutional democracy under the current administration, which they argue has failed to protect the minority community from rising threats. Njilun Kipgan, spokesperson for the Committee on Tribal Unity, outlined 3 specific demands for the DZP's immediate attention. The most pressing concern was the planned settlement of insurgent groups into Kuki-dominated areas in the Southern Hills region, including villages like Kangchup Patzang, Saibol, and Vokong Zang, among others. We strongly oppose the relocation of these insurgent groups into our territories, said Kipgan. This is not just a security issue, it is an attack on the sovereignty and autonomy of the Kuki community. He warned that such plans were not only illogical, but a deliberate move to encroach upon Kuki lands, further destabilizing the region and increasing the risk of violence. Kipgan described the move as a political tactic to impose majority control over the Kuki areas, which he argued would lead to an irreversible shift in the region's demographics and governance. The settlement of insurgents in our villages would create an explosive situation, and we will not remain passive. We will defend our land and people if necessary, he said. In addition to halting the relocation of insurgents, the Kuki leaders also pressed for the establishment of new police stations in Kamu Saitang and Pailing Mall areas to enhance law enforcement presence and ensure more effective supervision in the region. Kipgan emphasized that the lack of adequate security infrastructure was a significant gap in maintaining order and protecting the tribal community. The third demand centered to the neutrality of security forces.
Today, the 11th of November 2024, the DGP of Manipur, Sri Rajiv Singh, called on the Committee on Tribal Unity with regards to the law and order situation in the region. And the Committee on Tribal Unity placed our representation in the form of memorandum with pertaining to 3 critical points. 1, the proposed settlement of all valley-based insurgent groups, including the KCP, People's War Group, UNLFP, or any other valley-based insurgent groups within the peripheral fringes areas dominated by the Kuki Zhou, namely Kangchup, Patzang village, Saibol, Vokhozang, Esbongzang, or in any fringe areas of Ingorok, which is in the fringe area of Pailengzang village, is illogical and unacceptable. This would be a clear attempt by the majority community to trespass into a territory to exert their political supremacy over the minority. Therefore, we the Kuki Zhou community will be forced to take preemptive measure. And point number 2 was a prayer for immediate establishments of police stations at Pailing Mall area, which is under Island subdivision in Kangpopi. And lastly, we have made a point saying that the removal of the Assam rifle, the 9 and 22 Assam rifle from fringe areas of the Kuki Zhou dominated area, the Churchanpur and Kangpopi, is perhaps this is the reason why the majoritarian-led state administration have been adamant to remove the Assam rifle from this area so that they would be able to continue with the atrocities against the Kuki Zhou community. So those are the points which we have given to the Director General of Police for immediate action and a discussion with his government.
Kipgan appealed for a politically neutral security presence, asserting that the current forces, including the Assam Rifles, Central Reserve Police Forces, and CAPF, had often shown signs of political bias, undermining trust among the Kuki people. He urged the DZP to ensure that security personnel remain impartial and free from external political influence. Several Kuki women's organizations including the Domi Mothers Association, Mar Women Association, Kuki Women Union, ITLF Women Wing, and Mizo People's Convention Women Wing gathered in a strong protest at Lamka Public Ground today. The demonstration was a response to the brutal killing of Jo Sang Kim Mar, a 31-year-old mother of three from Jairon village in Jiribam district, Monipur. The protest, led by Kuki women, was organized in the wake of a tragic incident on the night of November 7, 2024, when Meitei militants attacked the peaceful Jairon village. According to sources from the ITLF, the militants set fire to 17 homes in the village and captured Jo Sang Kim Mar. The unarmed woman, who had three young children, Frankie Lalchoi Sang, 3, Victoria Laldo Moy, 9, and Lal Ringdik, 7, was brutally tortured and murdered. Reports indicate that she was shot in the leg, preventing her from fleeing, before being raped, burned alive, and left in an appalling state. Her charred remains were found alongside fragments of her brain, underscoring the horrifying cruelty of the attack. This incident is part of an ongoing series of violent assaults by Meitei militants, which has plagued the region for over 18 months. The protests describe the rise of ethnic violence, targeting primarily the Kuki tribes, with women and children suffering the most. The brutal killings and sexual violence have been described as part of a systematic campaign to intimidate and harass indigenous communities from the region. In a memorandum submitted to the chairperson of the National Commission for Women, the women's group condemned the continued violence and human rights violations, particularly the weaponization of sexual violence. The joint statement highlighted the widespread atrocities since the onset of the conflict on May 3, 2023, including the burning of homes, mass killings, and sexual violence against women. The group specifically cited the attack on Jairon, where Meitei militants and members of the Arambay Tengol militia captured and killed Jo Sang Kim in a horrific manner. The memorandum also called on the National Commission for Women to recognize the gravity of the situation and take urgent action to address the systemic abuse of women in the ongoing conflict. The women's group warned that the use of such barbaric tactics as a means of asserting dominance must be condemned in the strongest possible terms, stressing that the attack on Jo Sang Kim is not an isolated incident, but part of a broader strategy to terrorize and displace indigenous tribal communities. We will not stand silent while our women and children are subjected to such horrors, said one of the protest leaders. Jo Sang Kim's death is a call to action for all of us to unite and defend our land, our families, and our dignity. The protests have demanded justice for the victims, accountability for the perpetrators, and immediate intervention by national and international bodies to stop the ongoing ethnic violence. The call for justice for Jo Sang Kim Mar and for all victims of this brutal conflict echoes across the tribal communities of Manipur as the situation remains dire. As the protest continues, the Kuki women groups vow to remain steadfast in their fight for justice and have called on the Indian government to intervene and bring an end to the violence that has plagued Manipur for nearly 2 years. Jiribam, November 11, 2024, Mar Inpui, a prominent Mar organization, has strongly condemned the killing of 10 Mar village volunteers by the Central Reserve Police Force at Jakrador, Jiribam. The volunteers were on routine duty, protecting their ancestral land and people, when they were ambushed by CRPF personnel. Despite lowering their arms and showing goodwill, the volunteers were fired upon, resulting in 10 deaths. 3 injured volunteers were also captured and killed. Mar Inpui alleged that the CRPF unit, led by a Meitei officer, acted with communal bias and in collusion with Arambay Tengol, a militant group. This horrific tragedy is an abject betrayal of trust and an understanding, an atrocity that haunts our conscience, said Mar Inpui. The killing amounts to a massacre, constituting serious human rights violations and crimes against humanity. Mar Inpui accuses the CRPF of failing to function as a security apparatus and instead siding with majoritarian interests. They also claim that the massacre is part of a broader policy to destroy and exterminate the Kuki-Zo Mar peoples. The organization extends condolences to the bereaved families and reaffirms its commitment to securing ancestral land and upholding dignified existence. On the other hand, the Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum (ITLF) also condemned the infamous November 11 incident at Jiribam, where Mar village volunteers were killed in cold blood by the CRPF, who were supposed to maintain peace and harmony in the conflicted state. The Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum (ITLF) has condemned the incident, labeling the volunteers as martyrs who selflessly gave their lives for their land. The incident has also brought to light the controversial decision to replace Assam Rifles with CRPF in the region. The ITLF has urged the Kuki-Zo community to reconsider labeling the CRPF as a neutral central force, states the ITLF press release. Kuki Women Organization for Human Rights also criticized the CRPF biased behavior, alleging favoritism towards the Meitei community and failure to protect Kuki-Zo citizens. Kohor described the killing as a brutal and discriminatory, violating the Kuki-Zo community's fundamental human rights. The organization demanded accountability and transparency from the CRPF. The recent flare-up, including attacks by Arambay Tengol, highlights the CRPF failure to fulfill its duty, states the release. A woman was brutally raped, murdered, and disfigured while villagers fled in fear. Hence, Kohor demands the immediate removal of biased CRPF officers and to hold the CRPF accountable for corrupt and unethical conduct, and also the deployment of neutral professional forces in Kuki-Zo areas. The Mar Students Association calls for immediate action and accountability for the urgent CBI investigation. The HSA demands an immediate and unbiased CBI-led investigation into the murders in Jakrodar and the attack on Jairond. The responsible parties must face the full force of justice, stressed the release. The HSA also demand for the suspension of CRPF and Manipur police in Kuki-Zo areas, demanding for the immediate withdrawal of CRPF and Manipur police forces from Kuki-Zo communities until credible neutrality security measures are in place. It also demanded for the protection of Kuki-Zo villages, saying that the deployment of neutral peacekeeping forces is necessary to secure Mar and other tribal areas, ensuring community safety and preventing further violence. The HSA General Headquarters implores the Indian government, human rights organizations, and allies worldwide to recognize these targeted actions against our community at a critical time when peaceful solution is sought after. We call for true justice, the protection of our people, and an end to the divisive violence threatening our future. The HSS stands resolute in its pursuit of justice and will continue its fight to protect the rights and lives of Mar people. In response to the yesterday's inhuman actions by the CRPF in Jiribam, the KSO General Headquarters has issued a directive stating that no CRPF personnel shall be allowed to leave their camp premises. Any CRPF personnel found in violation of this notice shall do so at their own risk and responsibility. This directive will be in effect immediately upon the issuance of this notice and will remain enforced until the CRPF publicly acknowledges and apologizes for their barbaric actions in Jiribam. In light of this statement, we urge all districts and blocks of the Kuki students' organizations to align with the sentiments of the public and ensure immediate enforcement of this notice. This will be considered as part of the larger movement of non-cooperation against the CRPF within the Kuki-dominated area and appeal to the public to comply with until further notice. On the other hand, the Zomi Students Federation also released a press note stating that, in light of the inhuman actions of the Central Reserve Police Force in Jiribam yesterday, that is the 11th of November 2024, in which 11 of our youths were treacherously murdered, we announced a social boycott on the CRPF with immediate effect. Having witnessed how the CRPF functions under the diktats and wishes of the communal state government, and how its DIZ, Huidrom Premjit, who have previously donated money to the militant organization, Arambay Tinggol, has been using the force to commit genocide against our people, we have lost all faith in the supposed neutrality of the force. We further demand that a thorough and impartial court monitor investigation into what can be described as fact encounter, including the role of the DIZ, be investigated, and that all Meitei personnel and officers of the CRPF be immediately transferred to other states, states the release. Total shutdown was called in Mory to sow the people's anger towards the killing of 11 Mar village volunteers by the CRPF barbarically. As per order received from the KSOs, a total shutdown was called upon all Kuki-Zo-dominated hill districts. Mory also calls a shutdown in honor of the 11 martyrs and stands in solidarity with the Kuki-Zo people regarding this matter. The Hill Tribal Council and Mory Youth Club volunteers call for a strict shutdown where all shops and business establishments remain closed and no forms of movement were allowed in respect for the shutdown. Mory Youth Club Vice President Admin IC President Hong Se Lungdim made a request to all Mory citizens to abide by the shutdown rules and support it in the future as well. He urged the people to not break the rules of the shutdown in the future. Today, the 11 November 2024, 46 cycle MLA Kim Niao Ho Kip Hang Sing along with Pautin Lun Chong Loy, ex-MDC, Thongzalun Mate, ex-MDC, and Pau Kam Kip Gan distributed 100 bags of rice to 17 families in Pangzang village who have been severely impacted by crop failure due to the devastation of their paddy fields. She proceeded on by stating that in times of hardships, it's important that we come together to support one another. We stand in solidarity with everyone affected and we will continue working to ensure that no one is left behind. Four women lost their lives and several got injured in Uttar Pradesh, Kasgans after a large amount of soil collapse. This incident happened on Tuesday. According to officials, the women had gone to collect mud to plaster their houses in Mohanpura village while the soil pile unexpectedly collapsed. Meda Rupam, Kasgans district magistrate, said that rescue efforts led to the recovery of 9 women, with 4 of them pronounced dead upon retrieval. 9 women have been brought out. 4 of them were declared dead at the district hospital. Others are injured. The rescue operation was conducted very well here. We have checked the entire area with the help of JCB and the excavator. There is very little chance of anyone else being trapped there. NHAI's work was underway here, she added. She also mentioned that we will take action against whoever was negligent. It is being said that the women had come to get soil for their houses. We will speak with the women. Uttar Pradesh CM Yogi Adityanath took cognizance of the incident. He directed the administration to immediately take the injured to the hospital and ensure proper treatment. Uttar Pradesh CM also expressed condolences to the bereaved families of the deceased. He wished speedy recovery of injured. Aimed at bolstering India's defense capabilities, Bharat Dynamics Limited (BDL) has signed a memorandum of understanding with Russia's state-owned arms exporter Rosoborono Export (ROE) to facilitate cooperation for variants of the advanced Pantsir air defense missile gun system. The Memorandum of Understanding was signed at the 5th India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission subgroup meeting in Goa. This partnership underscores the continued defense collaboration between India and Russia, focusing on enhancing India's air defense capabilities amid evolving regional security challenges. The Pantsir air defense system is a highly versatile and mobile platform designed to protect military installations and critical infrastructure from aerial threats, including aircraft, drones, and precision-guided munitions. The system combines short to medium ranges surface-to-air missiles with dual 30mm automatic cannons, creating a multi-layered defense. Equipped with advanced radar and tracking systems, the Pantsir can detect and engage targets up to 36 kilometers away and at altitudes of up to 15 kilometers, providing a rapid reaction time for intercepting fast-moving threats. With this collaboration, BDL and ROE aim to explore new avenues for manufacturing, technology transfer, and joint development of the Pantsir variants, aligning with India's broader goal of achieving self-reliance in defense production under the Make in India initiatives. The Pantsir system's adaptability for different terrains and its capability to counter multiple aerial threats simultaneously will be a crucial addition to India's defensive arsenal, reinforcing the nation's preparedness against regional threats and augmenting existing air defense systems. The signing of this Memorandum of Understanding highlights India's commitment to strengthening its defense cooperation with long-standing partner Russia, while ensuring that critical technologies are adapted and customized to meet India's specific security needs. Australia was hit by more than 1.1 million lightning strikes on Sunday, setting a record of sorts. Central Australia, Queensland and South Australia reported thunderstorms according to Meteorology Service Weather Zone's lightning tracker. During these storms, several lightning strikes took over the sky, which startled the experts. In Uluru, a whopping 719,068 lightning strikes occurred, striking an 800-kilometer area because of a massive band of storms. Southeast Queensland faced heavy rain and storms and witnessed lightning strikes 328,627 times. Around 95,000 lightning strikes happened over northern Australia, 9 news reported. Experts were surprised to see a high amount of lightning strikes in regions where they are normally rare. The most remarkable concentration of storm and lightning activity was in Central Australia and arid parts of South Australia and Eastern WA, where any amount of lightning tends to be much less common, Weather Zone said. The storms were a result of two separate troughs. One of them was over Central Australia, while the other was over Eastern Australia. Queensland is facing the likelihood of more thunderstorms and heat waves, packing in extreme weather conditions in the coming days. The Bureau of Meteorology issued an emergency warning and said the high temperatures might pose a health risk in the Cape Peninsula area. On Sunday, in southeast Queensland, several concerts were cancelled and thousands of people were evacuated during the severe storm. 3 concerts that faced the Brandwehr, a Day on the Green outdoor concert, British pop star Sophie Ellis Baxter's Siromet show, and a concert by Tech Dad, who also called it off for safety reasons. On a bull farm at Dalby, Queensland, $330,000 worth of hay bales were struck by lightning and caught on fire. U.S. forces on Monday conducted 9 strikes on Iranian proxy targets in Syria, a response to recent attacks on American personnel in the region, U.S. Central Command said in a statement. The raids, which took place at 2 separate locations, were in reaction to several attacks on U.S. personnel in Syria over the last 24 hours, according to Central Command, which oversees Washington's forces and military assets in the Middle East region. These strikes will degrade the Iranian-backed group's ability to plan and launch future attacks on U.S. and coalition forces who are in the region to conduct DISIS operations, the statement notes. And Central Command Commander General Michael Eric Kurilla said the strikes send a clear message that attacks against U.S. and coalition partners in the region will not be tolerated. Iranian-backed groups and other militant organizations have increased attacks on U.S. troops in the region since the Israel-Hamas war began in the Gaza Strip in October 2023. In August, 8 American service members were treated for traumatic brain injury and smoke inhalation after a drone attack in Syria that officials believe was carried out by an Iranian-backed militia. American groups in turn, have sought to counter such groups. Since August 29, Central Command forces carried out more than 95 defeat ISIS operations, some of which include strikes in Syria that killed 163 terrorists and led to the capture of 33, the command said last week. About 900 U.S. forces are operating in Syria, though the U.S. military has bolstered its forces in the region. That is all for today's news, and have a pleasant evening ahead.